All right, so this is going to be my submission and demo for Enterprise Week at Gauntlet. I chose to work on Plone CMS, and specifically to make it, my features for this week will be trying to benefit K through 12 teachers because I feel like they would benefit the most from a specifically designed CMS tool for them, or at the very least, just features with them in mind. Because Plone CMS doesn't really have any unique or special features for any one group of people, which is 100% fine for trying to make as wide of an audience as possible. But I wanted to make it more specific and narrow to get on as many people from one specific group as I could. So all of my features will be using everything I can from Plone's backend as it is, and simply adding on to it. I'm not going to be changing Plone's like REST API. I'm not going to be changing their Zope database. I'm not going to be doing any of that. It's all going to be working around and using it just basically essentially going to be displaying it in a different way for the user, plus also additional features, which I will showcase in a second. But like for example, this authentication is just what Plone uses on their own sites and everything else already. So I can just sign in with a test admin account here. I can sign in. This UI definitely looks a bit different, but that was mainly because one of the modernization suggestions from the documentation was to replace server-side templating with a modern framework. So I just took out, so that's kind of what I did. I just took out the server-side templating that's really, really old. As a matter of fact, is going to be deprecated according to Plone's documentation sometime in the next couple of years. And I just swapped it out for a modern framework, and also tried to make it look something more like a K-12 teacher would actually use. Because you have like because at least for me, this is and whenever I was in the K-12 system, this is the type of stuff that I would generally see a lot of those teachers use. But there's not a whole ton. There's not a bunch to show at the moment. But like if you're a teacher, you can. Well, actually, not if you're a teacher, because there's a bunch of role-based views. So you, as an administrator, the administrator has the ability to create classes, to edit classes, to create students, and to create other teachers, because they need to help enroll students, they need to hire teachers, they need to fire teachers, all this stuff. So they have the ability to kind of edit and change and create whatever they need for their school district or for their specific school. As you can see here, they're able to look at all the students and all the teachers, and they're able to make a student if they want. Like for example, we can make a student that's my name, and we can give them if I can type a Noah Campbell at school.com, and we can say that this is a student number 1111, and we'll say that this Noah Campbell is in 8th grade, and then we can give them a username, and we can give them a password, which I will just set to be. Actually, I will temporarily give a short password, because this does use Plone's existing systems, because Plone's backend does not accept passwords that don't have certain requirements. The only requirement that they happen to have is just has to be at least 8 characters. So I will just set it to be my name for test purposes. I'll sign this version of myself up for pre-calculus and algebra. You can create a student account, and as you can see, it shows up here. It has your student ID, it has your grade, when you enrolled, name, all this type of stuff. You can come here and edit for phone contact information, emergency contact, all of this stuff. Now, how this is actually being stored is user. So this is the classic UI Plone. If you come here to the users tab of the site that's being used, you can see all of the people. Like here, we just made this version of myself. These are all the users that currently exist. And then you can create classes as well if you're an administrator, which I had touched on. You can come back here to classes. You can create a class with a name. You can assign a teacher to it, the subject, grade level, whether or not like the type of schedule, because if it's like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, from what times, etc. You can create a class, and then the classes work just by creating a folder in Plone, and then it's basically inside of there is just folders and stuff as well. Like you have your assignments, Then you have like the specific assignments made. You have resources, which will be taken care of later. Then you have your list of students. You have grades, which currently isn't working because we don't have a way for grades. But I do have assignment submissions currently set up and working. But so that's currently a lot of the stuff that the admins can take care of. We do have a mock data calendar. Settings I want to change a bit, but what we can look at is, let's take a look at the account that we just made for myself. We can sign in to my own account, and now it says Noah Campbell student down here. And we can see that I assigned some classes to myself. There's still some mock data here, so we'll just ignore that for the time being. But we can take a look at my classes here. And since this one actually has assignments pending, we can just take a look here. Currently doesn't do anything, but we can go to our assignments tab here. And here's where you can actually submit assignments. So if I can click this here, and if I had let's take a look at this PDF, I can drag and drop it, submit, boom, and it submits, and it shows, hey, you submitted this, when it's due, how many points it's worth, and then we can come back over here, and our assignment submissions has grown by 1. That's currently how this is all working, is just basically calling the exact same backend that already exists for Plone's classic UI. It's basically just a fresh coat of paint and also adding a bunch of features. But speaking of features, I actually have already implemented one of the features I want to actually have for for the K-12 teachers, and I can showcase that by coming here to this algebra thing, and we can expand classes to look at things like details, students assigned to it, assignments that it has. This one doesn't have an assignment, I believe, right? Correct. Yeah. Okay. And then you have meetings, and let's create a totally brand new meeting. We're going to call this Chapter 1 Review, and we'll create a meeting. Boom. And as we can see, it immediately flex the camera back at me. What I can do is take the link that's up here, come back over to, let's take a look at this incognito tab. So it's like a totally different everything. So we're signed into a different account. We're going to look into math teacher, and then math teacher is the password. And then we can go to classes. The link, I'm going to work on that link so that way it actually will redirect you back, but now we can join that same, boom, there we go. As you can see now it's, obviously it's on 2 different browsers, it looks a little bit wonky, but it's using WebRTC, so it's using peer-to-peer connections to display all of this stuff. And I can actually probably mute this for a sec, because otherwise it's going to get a little bit weird, because what you can also do is record a meeting. So this is one reason I'm muting, because since I'm running it on my own machine with multiple instances, it's going to get really echoey really quickly. So you're going to have to take my word that it actually does track audio. But you can see, so it's recording. We can close the recording. Currently it doesn't, I wanted to auto submit or auto upload that recording to Plone's backend and be able to store it eventually in like an S3 bucket. But for the time being, it would just be using Zope locally. But it does record it, so I can open up what I just got. And as you can see, if I turn my volume, shouldn't record audio because we were just muted, but this is exactly what I was doing just a second ago. So now we can just leave the call. Want to fix that, it redirects you back to dashboard, when in reality you should probably just close the page, because it makes a new page when to join the meeting. Now let's go back to where we just were. I did not want to do that, actually. Let's go back to localhost. But those are the features I currently have implemented. What I want to work on is actual giving grading tools that obviously don't already exist in Plone CMS, giving those to teachers. What I want to be able to do is also have interactive whiteboard elements and stuff, so you can use those while you're in a meeting, or you can have the ability to just have a whiteboard element within here, and then you can share that to your students. Basically, I want to add a bunch of features like that will make teachers' jobs easier and more like so they can focus more time on actual teaching and lesson planning instead of scrambling around and making it harder to like grade assignments and all this other stuff. So that's currently that's my current state, some of my plans, and I believe I've showcased that it's all working perfectly fine in Plone's backend. So I'm honestly enjoying this more than I thought I would, but we'll see how it goes later down the week.